Well, good morning folks, we're back to it again. It's Thursday the 15th of August and the time is now just after 6:30 and we are in Colville. We've just been to Bibby's at Colville to pick up a load of packaging. I'm going to be taking that down towards Salisbury and also into Dorset. Just squeeze through the little gap here. So we've got quite a long day ahead of us. It's about 4 hours to Salisbury from here. I started off just outside of Coventry this morning. Couldn't quite get back yesterday. Had a busy day yesterday as well. I was all round by Stonehenge, having started in Colville, right round by Stonehenge and beyond. I got back to Coventry and I thought, I'm on 8 hours drive time. I had plenty of working time left, but I'd done 8 hours drive time, and this wasn't ready to be picked up till 6 this morning, so I thought there's no point in going over my 9 hours, because I would have gone over my 9 hours, and there's no point in reducing my rest. So I parked up for the night and started about 4 o'clock this morning. So we've had quite a productive morning so far. We've been and swapped trailers and now we're just about to jump on the motorway at Colville, junction 22, and probably make our way either across the A43 down that way or back across via Coventry and that way. It's kind of 6 and 2/3 whichever way you go, but very much depends on the traffic this time of day. So we'll work it out when we get there, see where everything is, and we'll keep you posted. So we've got a load of packaging on that we're delivering. We've got 2 drops today. Blandford Common, I think it was, in Dorset, after Salisbury. So plenty to keep us busy. Bibbies are pretty good. They strap the load for you. So it's just a case of making sure that's done okay, which it was, and closing your curtains and away you go. So nice and easy. We've got about a 4-hour journey ahead of us. So we'll see you in a little bit. So anyway, for now. We'll see if we can decide which way round I decided to go in the end. See if there's any clues. Have a guess which way I went. Had the option, I could either continue down the M1 and across the 43 to the M40, then the 34 down past Oxford, and then across from there to Salisbury, or I could come across the 69, pick up the 46 and then take that to the M40 and then pick up the A34 further down. Doesn't really matter which way you go. The M1 sometimes can be a little bit problematic in the earlier hours of the morning, as can the M40. The M40 can be an absolute nightmare sometimes. As can the M1. It's you've got to make your decision and just stick with it and reap the consequences when it all goes wrong. But I've decided to do the M69 across to Coventry and then down the A46 down past Warwick to the M40 and then we'll head down that way. Total difference, I think it's about 10 minutes between the two. This is a slightly longer way, not too much, like I say, about 10 minutes, about 7 miles or something difference, a little bit further this way. But it's a more enjoyable route, and you can also catch up a little bit of time coming this way if the roads are clear. But the noise there, if you heard it, according to Mercedes, I've just gone over a white line somewhere. But as you can see by the cam, I'm right in the middle of the road. I think what it's done, there's been some road work, so there's some little cat's eyes or something where they've kind of altered the path of the traffic, and where they've filled that part of the road back in again, I think the warning system picks up on it, and then you get that through the speaker. And depending which side of the road you're on, if you go over the white line to the left speaker does it, and of course if you go over the one on the right speaker does it. So you kind of know which side you're wafting over. I think it's quite a good idea. You know, sometimes these journeys can get a little bit monotonous, and sometimes the lanes can be a little bit narrow, especially when you're going through roadworks, and it's just a little bit of a warning to say, hang on a minute, you're wandering around a little bit. But it does tend to pick up sometimes on roadworks, on other lines. Like at the minute we've got where they've joined the tarmac in the lane, sometimes it can pick up on that. Or also like where the road's just slightly damper on the right hand side of the lane. From memory, when I did a driver training course with the police many moons ago, they had various names for part of the road, and I don't know if you can see at the moment, it kind of goes from the solid white line over on the left, and then it comes into this like damp, darker road next to it, and then it gets a bit lighter, and then it gets damp in the middle, and then it gets lighter again. And I think motorcyclists will probably agree with me here, that there's something called the sump line, which is where the heat of engines, especially trucks, kind of warm the road up, and give motorcyclists a bit of a dry line to follow. And you can see it dead centre of this lane. There's just like a solid line that's drier than the rest of the road. It's called the sump line. Well, that's what they told me anyway. I do tend to believe them. And you can also see where the tyres of trucks have kind of worn into the road. And sometimes when you're in your car or a van or whatever, and you're driving along, suddenly the road will just pick you up and it'll sweep you over to the left, and then it'll sweep you over to the right, and you go, ooh, what was that all about? And it's literally where heavy laden trucks have sunk down into the tarmac and created little grooves. And I often used to say, it's a bit better these days, but years and years ago, before technology moved on and road surfaces got a little bit better, these gouges in the road from lorries used to go on for miles, and you could literally just let go of your steering wheel and it would follow it like you were on rails. Many moons ago. Couldn't do it these days. You'd end up in the field or something. So yes, we decided to do the M69, and we're about a third of the way down the M69. Now you'll probably notice with the video that the Mercedes does actually bounce about quite a bit more than the Volvo. I'm not sure how it'll affect the video. I know it's got like a built-in stabiliser, this GoPro. I think it works quite well, but you probably notice there's a bit more bouncing about, and as a driver you certainly feel that. I've been told in the newer models, in the 68 plates and onwards, they've actually improved the suspension in them. It certainly keeps you awake, put it that way. You do get bounced around a bit in these things, but again, it's just, you know, I think if you're a bit older and your bones are a bit more creaky, it'll probably affect you more than if you're a bit younger and fitterer. I still don't mind it. It does catch you out sometimes. Sometimes you can hit a bump and everything kind of falls out the shelves, and it's a bit of a surprise really, but it's all right. I can handle it. Keeps you awake, shakes your brains about. And all trucks have their own characteristics about how they perform and how they handle on the roads. But I still do like me Mercedes. I loved my Volvo, and I do love the Mercedes. There's some definite advantages with the Mercedes. Plenty of storage. The bed is huge in this thing. I can get one end to the other and still have room, whereas in the Volvo I used to feel like the little plastic cubby holes, my feet used to rest on them, but in here it's all bed, and my shoulders, there's more room between my shoulders and the seat and the back of the cab. So I think if you're a larger person, these beds are fantastic. I know that when I put my bedding in, my bottom sheet, when I put my bottom sheet on, it made the mattress curl up, and I've never had that before. Now at home we have an IKEA bed in one of the boys' bedrooms, and they're a bit longer, these IKEA beds, than a usual single. So you end up having to buy your single bed sheets from IKEA. Now in the Volvo, the mattress was quite long, and it was a bit longer than an ordinary single sheet, like a fitted sheet. So I used to nab one of the longer sheets, and that was fine. Well, I bought the longer sheet into here, and the mattress still curls up, so it's definitely longer, or definitely wider than what the Volvo was. But of course there's no cubby holes at either end. They're kind of built into the walls in this, rather than where your head was or where your feet were in the Volvo, if that makes sense. There's no USB sockets in the back of this where the bed is, which kind of surprises me, but I think German engineering, German mindset is when you're in bed you shouldn't be on your gadgets. Now whether that's a thought process as to why they don't put like the sockets, the USB sockets around by the sleeping area. There are plenty of cigarette sockets in here. I have had to purchase a couple of extra USB sockets because everything's run off USB power these days. So I did have to buy a couple of multi adapters that plug in, but there are permanent cigarette socket thingies in here, so they work 24 hours. So you just need like an adapter with a long plug that will reach across to your bed, and then you can have your phone next to you. But really it's just laziness. There's no reason why you can't just put your bed on the shelf in here. No, put your phone on the shelf in here. Early mornings and trying to think and talk at the same time never works. Yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't put your phone on the shelf, set your alarm, just reach over and switch it off. It is quite a bad habit, to be fair, to have your phone in bed with you, but I think probably about 99.9% of us do it. Just personal preference. Sometimes it's the only time you have to catch up with the world and your family and friends once you get into bed. I do tend to sit and check my social media before I go to sleep, answer questions, and I've certainly had plenty of comments on my my last few videos, so thank you very much to all of you that have commented. I'll do a couple of shout outs through the day. I've got a couple of questions that I've said I'm going to answer, including this dash cam, and not the dash cam, the GoPro, and the wireless microphone system that I'm using now. Now, if you remember a few months ago when I had the issue with my GoPro, when I dropped it in a bucket, and I had all that trouble trying to get the wireless microphone set up, and it just wasn't having it. And I tried various end bits, I tried various USB plugs, and I'll explain in detail a little bit later on. But it turned out that it was actually the wireless microphone that was at fault all along. So I managed to get it sent back. It took about 6, 7, 8 weeks to get the replacement system. I think what it was, Rode, the manufacturer, have had a few issues with these wireless microphones, so they kind of recalled them all, and then ended up with some new stock that seemed to be working absolutely fine. So we'll go through that in a little bit. I'll maybe do a separate video for that, because we've been chatting on for a little bit now. We're nearly 13 minutes into this one, so we'll leave it here, and I'll probably just do a separate video for the wireless microphone and the GoPros, just to show you what I'm using and how I do it. And I'll try and add a link to it if I can from this video towards the end of the video. So there we go then, we're about 2/3 of the way down the M69, and then we'll join the A46 across to Warwick and down the M40. Catch you later. Okay, so the time now is 9:30, and we've just pulled up and had a little bit of a break just on the A34. Now what we've got to do is get back out. We'll get a big enough gap. The trouble is, nobody's really looking that far ahead. Very nearly made it then. It's somebody in the outside lane, and they had, there we go, we're out now. Somebody in the outside lane, a lorry had moved over to let me go, and there was a car behind the lorry, then came back over into the inside lane, and I couldn't go anywhere. So people just don't seem to look far enough up the road whilst they're driving. But anyway, we're out, we're on the road, we're all good. Time to soldier on. We had a 30-minute break there, so that's now reset. We had 15 minutes when we got to Colville, just when we fueled up and whatnot in the yard. So we've had half an hour just down past Oxford, which has reset the clock, and we should be with our first drop round about, well, just after 11 o'clock, so that's not so bad. Trouble now is everything that moved over to let me out is now wanting to come back in, and because they've let me out, they all want to be in front. It's always good to let people out, it's always good to read the road ahead. I'm now stuck behind a truck that can't do any more than 43 miles an hour going up a slight incline. He's obviously heavy loaded, but you kind of need to take a bit of a mentality of, well, he was good enough to let me out, so I shall just sit here for a few seconds, a few minutes, however long it takes, just to get over the top of the hill, let him do his thing and I can do mine. It's a bit glary out there, so we'll have the sunnies back on. So the other trouble with that is now, because I'm giving the lorry in front a bit of room, just so I can build my speed up again, the one behind has caught me up and now he wants to overtake me. And so it goes on. He's just looked through at me and like, well, what are you doing? Why are you going so slow? That's because I'm increasing the gap from the one in front, and now you're going to pull into the gap that was my my safe distance. Here he goes, which means now I'm going to have to increase the gap between him and me, which means the one behind me is going to catch up again. And so we go on all day, all day. There's a nice little Orion there, Orion 1.6 gear, G-Reg, what's that, 1990-ish? On the back of a breakdown truck, but it looked in good nick. Knowing them, it's probably either the head gasket that's gone or the timing belt. And 1600, yeah, I think they had a timing belt. Oh, first of the overhead cam engines, if I remember right, in them. Like a big silver top on them, chrome top. Good old cars with them. Back in day. Still got a way to go, still got 60 miles to do. Just on the A34. There we go. Truck's pulled out to overtake another on a hill. He's just lost all his momentum. And everything's ground to a halt. He should have just stayed where he was. Have a go, hero. You can pull back in again, mate. You don't have to sit there blocking the whole road up. But there we go. That's how it goes. Frustrated car drivers now. Bit of a downhill, and this rigid has just pulled out of a lay-by. I'm fully loaded, so I've come across just so I don't end up thumping into the back of him. Don't need to stand on my anchors. He's recognised he's held back so I can come past, and now I can pull in out of his way. And that is how it should be done. I think anyway. Maybe I'm a bit biased. I don't know. So there we go. We'll carry on the A34 now. It's getting a bit windy out there. We'll keep ourselves going. Just say thank you for holding people back, because the people coming over the brow of the hill can only see me in the way. So now it's my fault. Sometimes just a little bit of a wave and a thank you is all it takes, and everybody's happy in the world again. Right, well, we'll keep on going and we'll catch up with you once again, probably when we get there. Salisbury. So here we go then, through the middle of Salisbury. People need to stand back a little bit. He needs to mind his mirrors. We're having to come this way through because the height of the trailer. There's another way you can go, but we're too high to go around the other way, so we have to come this way. Which always causes fun and games. I did try to record on the way through, but I'm not sure whether it did or not, so I thought we'll record on the way back. And hopefully we'll have a bit more luck. We've done our first drop. And now we're off to Blandford Forum, something like that, I think it is. About 30 miles away, not even that, 25 maybe. About 3/4 of an hour. Hopefully get there for 1 and be out by 2 o'clock. And then we've got a collection to do. That's in time for tomorrow, because I don't think we're going to be getting all the drops done tonight, because he wants us to do back up to Leicester again. And we're already on 5.5 hours drive. This is always an interesting turning. We're going left here. Hopefully the bus will let us come out. Yeah, beautiful. Careful not to take the street furniture. Thank you very much. Mind the scaffolding. Old man and his pot of paint. Always reminds me a little bit of Bath. This place, Bath. You know what I mean? With the walls. It's a very pretty place. Of course, had their fair share of problems over the last couple of years here in Salisbury. But things seem to have calmed down a little bit for them. And hopefully tourism will start to pick up again for them. This time. sirens. There they come up the inside. Let's hope it's nothing too serious. I could actually do with being in the other lane. Once this one's moved, I've got a car behind blocking everything in, so we shall cheekily swap lanes. Bit of an educated guess there. When you get a feel that everything else is going right, nothing wrong with creeping up the inside and changing over again. Keeps the wheels going. It could also just be pure luck. But I think you just develop a bit of a sixth sense as a driver, what people are doing, what their intentions are. We'll just hang on here, wait for this lorry to come down. Because we're going to have to nip into the middle of the road in a minute. Just makes life easier for everybody. With a bit of luck, the lights will stay on green. Well, we're going anyway now, committed. Just take it nice and easy in case somebody shoots out from behind this van. Don't want to knock his road sides down either. There we go, back out into the countryside and back into Dorset. You have to be a little bit careful along here because of this dry stone wall to our side. Don't want to force the oncoming traffic into the wall because it'll shred their mirrors. Very pretty. Lovely. We'll get a bit of straight road and we shall leave it to you again and catch up with you a bit later on. Well, we've done both our drops and we're now in the countryside, just the other side of Pimpern, if that's how you pronounce it. I think so. And we are heading, we've got a collection to do. It's about 30 miles away, probably take us just under an hour, so around about 3 o'clock to get there, to start loading, hopefully be out of there for about 4ish, and then we'll be looking for somewhere to park up. The deliveries tomorrow. It's always very lovely, the countryside out here. We've got something going on in the field next to us on the right hand side. I don't know if you can see all the marquees and tents and whatever else they've got there. Some kind of a show going on at the weekend, no doubt. Let's hope they have good weather today. Do love the Dorset countryside. Big old truck coming out here. Bit of a bullnose by the looks of it. Just on the right. Breadmoor. Scania bullnose. Just made the most of this lovely blue sky and the lovely golden fields. To Hinton. Cream teas. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to go over the white lines because of the size of the vehicle. No option. You can turn it off, but that kind of defeats the object. Yeah, certainly get used to it. Seem to have been backwards and forwards across these roads this week. Which is okay. It's quite nice to be in the countryside for a change. Nice to get away from the hustle and bustle of city centres. We'll love you and leave you for a little bit more, and we'll try and do a little bit whilst we're loading up. It may be that I can't record whilst loading just because of the time of day. I can imagine it's going to be all hands on deck, so they might not want me wafting a video camera around, but we'll see when we get there.